Hey YouTubers! A couple of weeks ago I started doing some research on the coming Galactic Alignment. Something that was driving me crazy. I wasn't really sure what I felt about it. The research for the first version of the video got erased in its totality, so I began again. Only this time I realized something. There were many other folks who'd already connected the same dots, which I was connecting. The same dots that were just shouting at me. What are the shouting dots, you might ask? Maybe the ones I'm seeing are the ones which are also grabbing your attention. Here's a few. The coming galactic alignment, for one. Will there be a pole shift? What is this pole shift? Is it some sort of rumor? Is it a fact? Did it already happen? What's going on? Also, the precession of the equinoxes. That's a pretty big one. When will this happen? Is it going to be 4,000 years from now? Is it going to be tomorrow, 21 December 2012? What's going on? Is it related to the pole shift? Are we going to wobble to face a new pole star if we have a precession of the equinoxes type event? Furthermore, whose predictions do we look to? The Maya? The Webbot? Is this the end of the Kali Yuga? Is Nibiru making a pass sometime soon? Are we passing through an interstellar photon belt as we speak? Or are we about to? Come on now, is the photon belt even real? What does NASA have to say about it? The more I study, the more I realize that there is an idea crystallizing in my wee brain, and it all boils down to this, more or less. The information you need is out there right now. And depending on who you are at your core, you will interpret the information in your way. There is a majority of the world's populace who has no sense that anything is even coming. Some of us can sense that there is indeed something getting ready to change in a major way. Some of us sense an ET presence. Some of us sense Earth changes and major alterations in the way humanity views itself. There is a sense of divergence from the agendas of the elites, and things such as chemtrails, substances added to our water, vaccines, and psychoactive medications. We're beginning to see that those who are making and enforcing the rules do not necessarily have our best interests at heart. Some of us sense that the political systems which are now in place need to come down. But we also have a sense that violence is probably not the first or best line of defense. In fact, there seems to be a sense of peace which is coming over many of us. And this is odd, since you would think we would be furious over what is happening to our nation's senses of freedom, local flavor, and identity. Some of us sense a need for connection, a type of global convergence or governance, but not one which robs us of our personal liberty and autonomy. There are some of you out there now to whom this makes all the sense in the world. There is nothing I can say, and no way in which I can connect the dots for you that will turn your light on. If you do not get it by now, then what can I do to explain things to you? I could explain Mayan prophecy, but that information already exists, if you want to go look for it. I could tell you what I discovered about the galactic alignment, the precession of the equinoxes, the pole shift, and I put links below of what I found to be helpful. But I can shed no new light on any of this. As to Nibiru, my personal beliefs lead me to seriously consider that the Sumerians were not joking around about their concept of history and celestial events. I take into consideration the thunderbolts of the gods theory as put forth by the proponents of electric universe theory. But I do not believe that this theory explains the sum total of what the ancients carved into stone, what they carved into clay, what they placed on papyrus. I believe that their stories are not merely myths or legends. I do believe that we are headed for something different, and that my location, my preparation, and my attention to global occurrences are all vital to my survival. That's what I believe. What you believe will guide you, or not. I also believe that not everyone is meant to get it. And if something massive does await our planet, our species, our solar system, then perhaps not everyone is even meant to survive. There's always that. For me, I choose to be as educated as possible on all aspects of everything: scientific, spiritual, historical, and so forth. What I have learned and what I believe leads me to suspect and to expect that being prepared for as many eventualities as possible is a wise maneuver. Like most humans, I do not love inconvenience. I do not enjoy shortages of things which I enjoy or which I need. I am not comforted by being unable to communicate with loved ones at my convenience. Think about that one for a moment. Communication and access to information are all things we take for granted. You may not consider how it is you would get information should the power grid cease to function, but I do. Without electricity, do you have access to a phone or to internet services? How will you contact your family? I know how I'll contact mine. How will you get news? I've got some ideas and some backup plans. Do you? How would you learn where to go to seek safety from a coming event? And how would you know if you even want to go to those locations? That depends on where you got your news. Something to think about in advance. Because these questions do exist, at least in my mind, I decided a long time ago to begin preparing for such events. I moved to a secure location, far away from a coastline or a major city. And I feel truly saddened that many of my loved ones back home failed to grasp the importance of doing the same. It is my deeply held belief that many areas, which are home to my very closest friends, will undergo massive changes that do not support life. Some of you may think that this is crazy, paranoid, and weird. But you may not know what I know. And I'd be willing to bet you that the jobs I have held and the things I have personally witnessed play a large role in my decisions. You may not have had such access to information in your employment history. Making decisions that put you in a safer place should not be seen as weird, but as prudent and more likely to result in survival of a major cataclysm. That's how I was trained anyway. I can say that most Americans have this delusion that nothing of major significance will ever happen to them. Not good, not bad, just average. That's how most people think. There is an illusion of safety and security which pervades the mentality of Americans. And it is a false sense of security, I can honestly tell you. An illusion is not real. An illusion is not something on which to base your personal security and your bodily integrity. Are you one of those people who trust in your government to give you accurate and adequate information regarding the safety of the region which you inhabit? Here's an example. Look at what's happening in Bayou Corn, Louisiana. Look at the facts of what is taking place and compare those to the information provided by the officials, the information they provide to the people. It's not the same thing. The inhabitants of that region are basically just accepting the version of reality presented by the corporation which is running the show. And even when independent experts show danger to exist, the majority of persons in the area are staying put and seeming to ignore that danger. That is the reality of what is happening there. So, consider where you get your intel. If there's an agenda, as in covering somebody's butt, let's just say, behind that information, then you may want to look elsewhere for the truth. And then we have the concept of truth. Some of us are hell-bent on discovering truth 24/7. Truth about anything and everything. We want it now, and we will have it. Our very own families may think us totally mad. Our friends will say that we're obsessed, crazy, going off the deep end as we tirelessly research things which seem trivial to most folks. If there were nothing to find, then we would not be so steadfast in our resolve to find it. What seems most bizarre to me is that most people could care less for the truth. They do not care what the truth is about anything, and care even less about wasting time trying to learn what that truth might be. I firmly believe that 9/11 was the catalyzing event. It was the event that first made thinking and so-called normal people begin to question reality on a massive scale. Once people began to admit that they did not really know with 100% certainty what exactly happened on 9/11, Well, other things began to manifest themselves as being potentially untrue, or maybe even overtly obscured. But by whom and why? How did they get such things past the people? These burning questions began to pop up about lots of things, and gradually people started to wake up to what the reality or realities might be. And yet the majority could care less. And it is that majority which have now placed themselves at the whim of the elites, the Illuminati, call them what you will, those who run the show. So I do not speak to you, because you have no standing in my world. You refuse to see the truth, to search for answers, to see your role in what is about to come. And indeed, you fail to see that anything of significance is about to occur. The trolls, and people like that, who like to leave ridiculous, rude, unwarranted, and often unrelated comments on videos such as this, there are a lot of them, it seems. And I always wonder, why bother to click on a video which does not even interest you? If you do not believe in Nibiru, the pole ship, the photon cloud, why are you trolling around for videos with titles that clearly state what the video is about? That would be like me trolling around for videos on American Idol or Twilight. I do not care for these things, so why would I look for them? Further, if I did happen to see a video on American Idol by accident, would I really care enough to comment? No. It would be a waste of my time. And why would I want to go be rude in a forum where I clearly do not know what is going on? My opinion on something I know nothing about is not really valuable to those who do know. That's a given to anybody with a brain. So maybe there is a third type of person out there, besides those who sense something and those who sense nothing. Maybe there are people who sense something, but who have not yet admitted the full ramifications to themselves. They are looking for that one video or blog that makes it all come into focus for them, and as they go from video to video, they leave little nasty comments to reinforce the thought that nothing is going on here, or these people are nuts. Let me ask you this. Where are those remarks coming from? Have you really looked at the evidence, or are you just randomly lighting on a video here and there, leaving unintelligible and unintelligent remarks to make yourself feel better? What makes you think that nothing is happening, yet simultaneously causes you to want to find and watch material in which you do not believe? There is a conflict there, and it's a conflict inside you, the troll. Those who are making videos are not conflicted. Those who ignore videos about things they think are ridiculous, they are surely not conflicted. Because why bother with something that you think is the work of idiots? There's no point in that. Why waste the time? No conflict there. So what's the conflict that lives within the souls of folks who intentionally seek out certain topics only to leave nasty and negative commentary? I think that the trolls are perfect examples of conditioning. They have been conditioned by society to see certain topics as quote-unquote outside the norm. And the conditioning, though it has partially worked, is clearly failing. If the conditioning had worked, then they would not bother with the videos at all. Videos about Nibiru, about the pole shift, they just wouldn't go and look at them. Inside, these folks are doing battle with their conditioning. I believe this. They want to see what the people have to say, but the brainwashing manifests itself. It feels good for them to make little jabs and leave low blows at people who are talking about UFOs, ET, Nibiru, Galactic Alignment. You know, it's similar to when the German citizens, or Volksdeutsches, if you will, would shout obscenities at Jews in the streets. The insults weren't from those people to the Jewish people. The insults were meant for the SS and German soldiers to see, to let other people see. Look at us. We're good Jew-hating citizens. That is what was really being said. We hate Jews too. When the trolls make rude comments in public, what they're really saying is, look at us. We love Big Brother too. We also think UFOs are seen only by mentally defective weirdos. They feel a need to reinforce their conditioning in a public forum. It's nothing new. Study the Nazis and the German population prior to and during World War II, as well as what went on in nations conquered by the Nazis. Lots of the same types of responses to conditioning. Do you really want to parrot what you have been taught to think by the mass mainstream media and the elites? Because this is what you are doing when you leave those comments. Let me ask you this. What do you really feel? What do you feel deep inside your heart, down to your very bones? What research have you really done? Watching idiotic videos like this does not constitute research. Where is your information really coming from? What drives you? I think that even though the Galactic Alignment may only be an alignment of our sun to the center of the galaxy and not a full alignment involving our Earth, that there may be a significant connection to other events also playing out, such as to warrant concern and further observation. What other events? Well, I'm beginning to think that there is a correlation between the precession of the equinoxes, the time at which our Earth wobbles to face a new pole star, and this potentially means a pole shift. These events may be one and the same. Are such events gradual, or are they sudden? There is evidence which does suggest that these events are sudden, maybe a matter of hours or days in fact. And there is further evidence that pole reversal may be violent and result in extinction or mass deaths of animals in the past. Human beings have faced mass extinctions before. Just do an internet search for the Lake Toba volcano or Lake Toba extinction event. You are conditioned to always believe that nothing major will happen in your lifetime and that all major geological events are gradual, happen over long periods of time. But the truth is to the contrary, my friend. The evidence exists. And if you do not look for it, you are doing yourself and your very soul a major disservice. The photon cloud. I believe it may be real. Its existence would certainly explain the change many of us are experiencing. There is a vibrational shift in progress. You can feel it. And our entire solar system is feeling and manifesting this reality. Just look around. Some of us feel ascension is on the horizon. Others sense that Jesus is returning shortly. And some of us feel like we're going to be going home very soon. We feel these things down to our core in a way that no one can seem to shake. Why is this happening now? Why do we seem to have strange conversations with complete strangers every time we leave our homes? What's this sense that so many of us have? I will be continuing my readings on the Sitchin translations because they give me a sense of peace for some reason, and because I think there are answers to questions in those translations. You may disagree, and if you do, then all I can say is I hope you get your mental, spiritual, cosmological, and physical houses in order, and I hope you do it soon. I hope that you find an activity or belief system which brings you answers, peace, and a sense of understanding. Such things are important now, and you know this instinctively since you're still listening to my nonsense. Here's what I suggest. Go back in time. Go back in your own mind to see when you were a child. What did you seek? What interested you most? What questions did you ask? Were those questions ever answered? Were your dreams ever fulfilled? Or did you just forget about them? Did you just put them on a back burner somewhere? Go back to that time before you grew up into a responsible member of society or a jaded fucktard, and work back from there. Go get those answers and see what you find. Are you really the person you wanted to be? Or just some shadow of that dream which got sidetracked by life and quote-unquote reality? What is missing today? You can still get what you came for here in this lifetime, really. You do not have to live your life as a worker drone. Turn off your television. Tune out the meaningless blather that is substituted for meaningful conversation with others. Exchange real information, not just with those closest to you, but those around you. Talk about real events, real solutions, and real ideas. Just refuse to deal with others on the basis of manufactured divisions. Talk only to people. If someone wants to present or represent himself as a member of a specific group or a manufactured division, for example, a Republican or a liberal, just refuse to engage on that level with that conversation. Tell people you want to talk to them as people. That is where our connection to one another truly lies. Politicians and the puppet masters who pull their strings, They want us to be divided, and we must refuse to acknowledge the division. We're people, we have the right to do that. Further, when idiotic topics arise, such as moronic TV shows with zombies, fixed sporting events, mixed martial arts, the gossip of the day, refuse to engage in these discussions as well. Just suggest a discussion of something real as being preferable to something preconceived, some stupid diversion. Yes, some people are going to be annoyed by this, but plant the seed everywhere you go. Just insert yourself into these conversations. Just ask people, why is it that we always seem to talk about such meaningless bullshit when so many life-impacting realities are transpiring? Why do we know more about the latest reality star than we know about what is happening to our own constitutional liberties? Plant that seed. It will start to grow in the hearts of those who are semi-tuned in. See, that's how it works. Here's an example. I was a punk rocker back in the early 80s. That was not a good thing to be. I lived in the South, the Bible Belt, y'all. Back in the day where anything weird, different, or new was bad. And I don't mean bad as in cool, I mean bad as in you're going to get your ass kicked. And I got my ass kicked in a million different ways, trust me. I went up against a number of different school systems, adults, you name it. I learned how to let stupid, meaningless insults just roll right off my back. Came in real handy when I wore a uniform later in life. I learned to find like-minded and open-minded persons amidst a sea of worthless morons, one of many great skills I developed over those years from 7th grade and on through college. But you know, folks like me paved the way for this kind of individuality. So now having blue hair or a mohawk or wearing spiked clothing is really no big deal. We used to have to make our own spiky jewelry and colored hair dye, paint our own band t-shirts. See, they didn't have a Hot Topic in every mall back then. We didn't have the internet. We couldn't just order things that we wanted. We had to make it, and we got our ass kicked for wearing it. So now everyone can do it? Now, how did that happen? Well, it's really simple. Over the years, idiots like me planted the seeds of our fashion and political coolness all over the place, and others wanted to be a part of that revolution. Maybe just for fashion reasons, and maybe for political reasons or emotional reasons. Doesn't matter. It happened. What began as a social revolution back in the late 70s and the early 80s just became a fashion revolution. So now, yeah, people can still express their extreme punk rock pride. That's cool. It's perfectly acceptable also for 8-year-olds to have pink stripes in their ponytails. That hairstyle would have gotten your ass thrown out of a mall back in 1981. Understand that. Even if the stripes today are just clip-ons, understand that same hairstyle would have had serious repercussions. You could have gotten beaten up for having pink stripes in your hair back in the day. What's my point? It's this. What was once considered scary, weird, wrong, etc. is now cute. It's a fashion option for anybody with $8.99. They sell clip-in hair extensions in every color at Walgreens, Sally Beauty Supply. Anyone can just go buy them and wear them when the mood strikes them. You can get hair clips to match an outfit. So when you plant the seeds of your discontent, some other people will take them to heart. The seeds do grow. Remember, the Beatles' long hair was once considered taboo, and the gyrations of Elvis the Pelvis were a no-no on national television. They used to have to film Elvis from the neck up because the mere sight of his gyrating buttocks and pelvis were considered satanic and evil, a very bad influence on the general population. You know, Jim Morrison, Lenny Bruce, these people were once considered menaces and dangers to society for their thoughts and actions and words. Things, opinions, and levels of acceptance on things do change. That's just the way society works. So you have the ability to do something now that could affect somebody later down the line. But here's the problem that we're facing. I don't think we have 2 decades here. Not this time around. Not this time. For change to occur naturally. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we have maybe 5 years at most, and that's a positive assessment. If you keep telling yourself, no, this cannot be happening, all these conspiracy theorists are insane, then you might not have time to come around to the truth. I don't think we have 2 decades here. But you know, if you change now, you personally, and make the truth your daily goal, there's hope. Not sure where or how to begin? Check out some of the links that I'm providing below and feel free to share any ones that you find. You can share them right here on this page and we can all see them. The internet, and hence YouTube, may not always be available to us indefinitely. You need to think about that. We are very spoiled now, having all this info at hand 24/7. Old people like me, it's easy for us to go back to a time when you have to actually hand someone a paper with a note on it. But the younger people, it's going to be difficult for them if this gets taken away. This internet may not always be our reality. I suggest that you buy some actual books on intriguing topics. Should the internet shut down, at least you'll have some entertainment and education available. If we do lose the internet, then we will still have as a guide, what's in our heads and what's on our bookshelves. We'll have also our own natural sense of survival and the knowledge of those nearest to us. So soak it in now. Face the reality that something is just not quite right in the world and in the cosmos. Start figuring out how you're going to cope with it. That's something you can do every single day. And as a side note, I'm going to add this. While you still do have the internet, it may be a great idea to print out or commit to disk some form of hard copy any information you may need in the future. Maps of alternate routes to and from safe locations, loved ones' homes, directions to things that you may need. And I'm talking about foot maps. There's not going to be any MapQuest or Google Maps when our cell phones crap out, guys. So we're probably going to want to avoid major highways as well. There could be thoroughfares that are congested or dangerous for us to be on, so we may need alternate routes. Do you have these routes on hand? Do you have paper maps? You can print these out now, something you can do every day. Make sure you've got some info stored somewhere other than on the internet. That's all I'm saying. And also, if you've got information stored on things like disks, these things are susceptible to certain frequencies which can be emitted in certain security types of scenarios. So that, and if you don't have power, it's going to be very difficult for you to watch your DVDs that you made on your computer. So paper is always better. It's kind of a pain in the ass. It's kind of expensive to print things out, but at least you have the information on hand. I'm just saying. Also, information on how-to stuff is vital. Very, very vital. Gardening, building things, making things, first aid, medicinal and edible wild plants that may be in your area, survival manuals. These are just a few things that you can acquire. I'll also add that at any time you can always go to Goodwill, Salvation Army, secondhand bookstores. You can get these things for very, very low prices. Keep them on your shelves, read them in your spare time, or just hang on to them until you need them, because the internet may not be available in the future. That's all I'm going to say about that. So basically, a video that began as an attempt for me to be informative about an array of situations that may be arising has sort of turned into much more for me. And what I had to say is not what I thought I wanted to say. As it turns out, time's actually running out for people to come to terms with what may be going on here. And there's no clear answers that I have to share. The truth is that what you believe, the knowledge you gather unto yourself, the choices you make regarding your potential survival, these things are solely in your hands. And no video I could ever make about science, nature, or the cosmos would ever prove anything to you. Yet I hope this video does awaken something in someone. I hope that there are people who get what is being said here and who may contribute to this discussion further by raising their voices and sharing what they have found to be true. There's definitely a lot of YouTubers and bloggers out there who are doing that. May this universe bless every single one of us and be kind to us all. Hang in there, guys, and keep looking up.